The applause roared like thunder as Liam Hayes stepped into the spotlight. Manhattan Tech Summit. 10,000 faces glowing in the dark. Cameras flashing white-hot across his vision. He was supposed to announce the drug that would stop cancer in its tracks. The cure humanity had been waiting for, but the words on the teleprompter blurred into water. His hand trembled against the podium's edge. The room tilted sideways. The crowd gasped. He fell. The microphone hit the floor with a metallic scream. The live stream froze mid-frame. Within minutes, the hashtag trended worldwide. Billionaire collapse. The man who played God just met him, someone tweeted. When Liam opened his eyes, the ceiling was sterile white. A pulse monitor beeped beside him. The smell of antiseptic burned his lungs. Mr. Hayes. A nurse leaned over him, her face blurred at the edges. You're at Mount Sinai. You had a seizure. He turned his head. Through the window, Manhattan glittered like broken glass against the night. The door opened. Dr. Ruiz walked in, chart in hand. Her eyes were steady, but sad. Stage 4 bone marrow cancer, she said quietly. 6 months. Maybe less. He didn't flinch. The words sank like stones into deep water. 6 months, he repeated. She nodded. We can start treatment, but you should think about what you want to do with your time. Most people travel, reconcile with family. Family, he almost laughed. I don't have any. Only employees and investors. She left him alone with the machines. Outside his room, reporters camped beneath the entrance. Drones hovered above the hospital. CNN replayed his collapse in slow motion. His PR manager's texts flooded his phone, all ignored. He stared at the skyline. The city pulsed below like circuitry lit by ambition. But he felt detached, as if he were already fading. He thought of his brother Daniel. The car accident. The guilt that had shaped him into a man obsessed with saving lives. He had built an empire to atone. But somewhere along the way, he'd traded humanity for headlines. His phone buzzed again. He scrolled through comments under the viral video. The man who promised to cure cancer can't even save his own heart, he whispered. They're not wrong. At 3 a.m., the city lights flickered out one by one. His reflection stared back from the window, hollowed, pale, a ghost among the living, for the first time in years. Liam Hayes felt small and strangely free. The penthouse looked like a museum. Glass walls. Marble floors. Awards lining shelves like headstones. Liam stood in the center of it, still wearing his hospital wristband. The elevator doors closed behind him with a hollow echo. Every step reminded him. He was walking through a monument to himself. Clara Reed opened the kitchen door. Startled, Mr. Hayes. You should be resting. He didn't answer. Just placed his briefcase on the counter and stared at it like it belonged to a stranger. Clara was 25. Brown hair, tied in a loose bun, gray uniform. She'd worked there for a year. She was the only person who hadn't tried to flatter or exploit him. She treated him like a man, not a myth. That night, she moved quietly around him, preparing soup, closing curtains, turning down lights. He sank into the leather couch and turned on the TV. His collapse replayed on every channel. Anchors dissecting his health, analysts speculating on his company's future. Comments scrolled across the screen. He's faking it. He deserves it. Hope he's okay? The world that had once worshipped him now dissected him like a specimen. Clara set a bowl of soup beside him. He didn't touch it. Just kept staring at one comment pinned to the screen. Man who promised to cure cancer can't even save his own heart. Turned off the TV. The apartment drowned in silence and blue city. Light. They're not wrong, he whispered. Clara hesitated. You've saved lives, sir. You've built things that matter. He smiled without warmth. I built things to feel like I mattered. She didn't reply, just adjusted the blanket over his shoulders and left him alone. The clock ticked past midnight. He walked to the balcony barefoot. Cold air rushed over him. The skyline spread before him like an endless constellation. He looked down at the streets. Cars like red veins pulsing through the city. Inside, his reflection merged with the skyline, his silhouette dissolving into light. Blue light from the neon signs below painted his face. The same blue that once symbolized his company's slogan, "Blue means life." He almost laughed at the irony. Clara returned quietly with a glass of water and his medication. She saw him standing there through the glass door. "You should sleep," she said softly. "I will," he murmured. She placed the glass beside his bed and turned off the lamp. As she walked away, he whispered, "Thank you." She paused, looked back, but said nothing, and disappeared down the hallway. Alone again, Liam lay in bed, replaying the doctor's words. 6 months, maybe less. He thought about Daniel, his younger brother, laughing behind the wheel before the crash. Before the silence that followed, he had spent his entire life trying to resurrect that lost voice through medicine and money. Now even his own heartbeat felt borrowed. The next morning, Clara knocked on his study door. "Is there anyone you'd like me to call?" "Family, friends." His expression didn't change. "No," he said. "There's no one." Clara's eyes softened with something he couldn't name. Pity, or perhaps recognition. "Then I'll stay," she said quietly. "Until you don't need me anymore." He looked at her for the first time. Really looked at her. "Why?" She met his gaze. "Because everyone deserves someone at the end." Words hung in the air between them, heavy, true, and in that moment, something shifted. 3 weeks passed like shadows. Clara stayed. Not out of duty, but something deeper. Something neither of them named. She brought him tea at dawn. Read him the news when his eyes grew too tired. Sat beside him in silence when words felt too heavy. Liam found himself waiting for her footsteps. The sound of her voice. The way she looked at him without judgment or expectation. One night, he asked her the question that had been building inside him. "Why are you really here, Clara?" She was folding laundry by the window. The city lights cast shadows across her face. "What do you mean?" "You could work anywhere. For anyone? Why stay with a dying man?" She stopped folding. Her hands stilled. "'Cause I know what it's like," she said quietly. "To be invisible." He sat up slowly. "What happened to you?" She turned to face him. Her eyes held ghosts of their own. "I had a daughter," she whispered. "Lily, she was 4. The air between them changed, thickened with grief. Liam's voice was barely audible. "Leukemia." Clara's voice cracked. 2 years ago, I spent everything I had on treatments. Sold my car, my apartment, borrowed from loan sharks." Tears slipped down her cheeks. "She died in my arms at Metro General. In a hallway? Because we couldn't afford a private room?" Liam's chest tightened. The words hit him like physical blows. "Clara, your company made the drug that could have saved her," she said, her voice trembling but steady. "But it cost $300,000. Insurance wouldn't cover it. Neither would your so-called compassionate care program." Silence crushed the room. "I applied 5 times," she continued. 5 times I begged, and 5 times I was denied." Liam felt the floor drop beneath him. "So when I saw you collapse on that stage," Clara said, her voice breaking, "I thought, good. Let him feel what we felt. Let him know what it's like to be powerless." He stared at her, unable to breathe. "Then why did you come back?" he asked hoarsely. "Why are you still here?" She wiped her tears with the back of her hand. "Because hate is exhausting," she whispered. "And you look so alone." Liam stood slowly, walked toward her, stopped a breath away. "I'm sorry," he said, his voice raw. "I'm so sorry, Clara. Sorry doesn't bring her back." "No," he agreed. "It doesn't." They stood there in the blue glow of the city, 2 broken people holding the weight of their separate tragedies. "I can't undo what I did," Liam said quietly, "but I can try to make it right. Before I go," Clara looked up at him, her eyes red but searching. "How?" He turned toward his desk, pulled out a leather folder. Inside were documents, legal papers, bank accounts. "I'm liquidating everything," he said. "The company, the patents, the penthouse, all of it." Her breath caught. "I'm creating a fund," he continued. "For families like yours, no applications, No denials. If a child needs treatment, they get it. Free. Clara's hands trembled. Liam, that's $50 billion, he said. Every cent I have. She stared at him, stunned. Why? Because you're right, he whispered. I played God, and I failed. Tears spilled down her face. But this time, they weren't born of anger. You'll have nothing left, she said. I never had anything that mattered. Clara stepped closer. Her hand reached for his. Their fingers intertwined. Then let me help you, she said softly. Let me be here, not as your maid, but as someone who sees you. He looked down at their joined hands. Felt warmth for the first time in years. I don't deserve that. Neither did I, she said. But here we are. He pulled her close. Their foreheads touched, breath mingling in the quiet dark. Clara, he whispered. I'm here, she said. And for the first time since his diagnosis, Liam Hayes didn't feel alone. But outside the penthouse, unseen, a shadow moved. A figure with a phone, recording everything. The video went viral overnight. Clara and Liam, standing close, foreheads touching, his hand in hers. The headline screamed across every tabloid, Dying Billionaire's Secret Affair with Maid. Liam woke to his phone exploding with notifications. The board was calling. Investors demanding answers. His lawyer already threatening lawsuits, but it was the second headline that stopped his heart. Maid's dead daughter was denied Hayes' therapeutics drug, revenge or romance. His hands shook as he scrolled through the article. Photos of Clara, photos of Lily. Medical records somehow leaked to thee. Press, the comments were vicious. Digger using a dead kid as bait. He's being manipulated. Liam dropped the phone, stumbled into the living room. Clara was already there. Standing by the window, her face pale, eyes red. Did you know about this? His voice cracked. She turned slowly. Liam, did you leak this? He demanded. No. Her voice broke. I would never. The door burst open. A man in an expensive suit walked in, mid-40s, sharp eyes, predatory smile. Hello, Liam, he said smoothly. Liam's blood turned to ice. Marcus Hale, his former business partner. The man Liam had forced out of the company 5 years ago for cutting corners on clinical trials. Surprised? Marcus grinned. You should be. Clara stepped back, confusion flooding her face. Who is this? Tell her, Liam, Marcus said. Tell her who really denied her daughter's treatment. Liam's jaw clenched. Marcus Stoney was the one who flagged her application, Marcus continued, his voice dripping with venom. I was head of compassionate care back then, remember? Before you destroyed my career? Clara's face drained of color. What? He didn't tell you? Marcus laughed coldly. He fired me for trying to approve cases like yours. Said I was being too generous. Too risky for the bottom line? That's not true, Liam said hoarsely. You were approving patients who didn't qualify, falsifying data. And you were more concerned about liability than lives, Marcus shot back. Clara looked between them, her world crumbling. I came to give her the drug, Marcus said, his voice softening as he turned to Clara. I fought for her, but Liam shut me down. And then he had me blacklisted from every pharma company in the country. Tears streamed down Clara's face. Is that true? Liam couldn't speak. The weight of his own past crushed him. I didn't know, he finally whispered. I didn't know about Lily until it was convenient. Marcus sneered. Until you needed redemption? Get out, Liam said, his voice trembling with rage. Or what? Marcus stepped closer. You'll destroy me again? You're dying, Liam. You have no power left. I said get out. Marcus smiled coldly, then turned to Clara. I have proof, he said quietly. Documents showing he personally rejected your case. If you want justice, come with me. I'll make sure the world knows what he really is. Clara stood frozen, her eyes locked on Liam. Clara, please, Liam begged. Let me explain. You knew, she whispered. You knew your company killed her. I didn't know it was her, he said desperately. I signed off on policies, not individual cases. I was trying to protect the company from fraud. Her voice rose. My daughter was dying, and you called it fraud. No, he reached for her. She jerked away. Don't touch me. The silence that followed was suffocating. Marcus extended his hand to Clara. Come with me. I'll help you get what you deserve. Clara looked at his hand. Then at Liam. For a long moment, she didn't move. Then she walked toward Marcus. Clara, please. Liam's voice broke completely. Don't do this. Not like this. She stopped at the door, turned back, her eyes hollow. You said you wanted to make it right, she whispered. But you can't, because she's still gone. And then she left. The door closed. Liam collapsed to his knees. The room spun around him. He had saved millions, but he couldn't save the one person who mattered. His phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. The fund is frozen. The board is suing you for breach of fiduciary duty. Your legacy is over. Enjoy your last days alone, was signed with Marcus's initials. Liam stared at the message, then at the empty penthouse. For the second time in his life, he had lost everything. But this time, he had no one to blame but himself. 2 days passed in silence. Liam didn't eat, didn't sleep. Just sat by the window watching the city blur into streaks of light. His lawyer called. The board had seized control. The fund was dismantled. His assets frozen pending investigation. Marcus had one. On the third night, someone knocked on the door. Liam didn't move. Didn't care who it was. The door opened anyway. Clara stood in the doorway, her eyes swollen, her hands trembling. You came back, Liam whispered, his voice raw. She didn't speak. Just walked toward him slowly. Stopped a few feet away. I went with Marcus, she said quietly. He took me to his lawyers. Showed me the documents. Liam closed his eyes. Clara, he lied, she interrupted. His eyes snapped open. The documents were fake, Clara continued, her voice shaking. Doctored. He fabricated everything to turn me against you. Liam stared at her, unable to breathe. I found the real files, she said, buried in the court records from his firing. He was the one who denied my daughter's treatment, not you. Tears spilled down her cheeks. You fired him because he was rejecting cases to save money, to inflate profit margins. My daughter was one of them. Liam stood slowly. Clara, you were trying to fix it, she whispered. You were investigating him when he leaked false information to the press and fled. I should have done more, Liam said hoarsely. I should have gone public. Exposed him. But I was afraid of the scandal. Afraid of hurting the company? You were afraid of looking weak? Clara said. So you buried it, and people like me paid the price. He nodded, unable to deny it. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. She stepped closer. Her hand reached up to touch his face. I know, she whispered. I can see it in your eyes. You've been punishing yourself for years. It's not enough, he said, his voice breaking. No, she agreed. It's not. Silence filled the space between them. But it's something, she added softly. Liam pulled her close. She didn't resist, just let herself collapse into him. I don't have long, he whispered against her hair. Maybe weeks now, I know. The fund is gone. Marcus made sure of that. I know. So what do we do now? Clara pulled back, looked up at him with fierce determination. We start over, she said. Smaller, quieter, but real. How? She reached into her bag, pulled out a folder. I contacted the families Marcus rejected, she said. 53 of them. They're willing to testify against him? We can reopen the case. Expose what he did. Liam stared at the folder, then at her. That will destroy what's left of my reputation, he said quietly. The company will collapse completely. I know. I'll lose everything. You already have, she said. But you'll have the truth. He took the folder from her hands, opened it, saw the faces of children who had died, parents who had suffered. He thought of Daniel, of Lily, of all the lives he couldn't save. Okay, he whispered. Let's do it. The trial took 4 weeks. Liam testified from a wheelchair, his body failing, his voice weak but steady. Marcus fought back with lawyers and bribes, but the truth was stronger. The jury found him guilty of fraud, falsifying medical records, and 53 counts of negligent homicide. Hayes Therapeutics collapsed, but from its ashes something new emerged. Clara used the settlement money to create a foundation. Small, independent, funded by donations, not shareholders. It bore a simple name, Lily's Promise. 1 month after the trial, Liam lay in a hospice bed overlooking the East River. The morphine drip hummed softly beside him. Clara sat beside him, holding his hand. "Did we do it?" he whispered. "Did we make it right?" "Not completely," she said honestly, "but we tried. And that matters." He smiled faintly. "I never thought I'd die like this." "With someone who cares, you're not dying," she corrected gently. "You're just going somewhere I can't follow yet." "Tell me about her," he said. "About Lily." Clara's eyes filled with tears, but her voice stayed strong. "She loved butterflies," Clara said. "Used to chase them in the park. She said they were angels visiting Earth." Liam squeezed her hand weakly. "Then I'll look for her." "On the other side?" "You do that," Clara whispered. His breathing slowed. The monitor's beeping grew faint. "Clara," he murmured. "I'm here." "Thank you," he whispered. "For saving me." She leaned close, pressed her forehead to his. "You saved yourself," she said. "I just reminded you how." His eyes closed. A small smile played on his lips. "Blue means life," he whispered, and then he was gone. Clara sat with him until dawn. The river outside glowed gold with morning light. She didn't cry. Not yet. Instead, she stood, walked to the window, and watched as a butterfly landed on the glass. It stayed for just a moment, wings catching the light. Then it flew away. Clara smiled through her tears, pressed her hand to the glass. "I'll keep the promise," she whispered. For both of them, she did. Lily's promise went on to save thousands of children, not because of money or power, but because of 2 broken people who found redemption in each other, and sometimes that's enough. The end.